Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is the review of Netflix new comedy starring Sacha Baron Cohen and Rosamund Pike, Ladies First. Welcome one and welcome all. This movie tells the story of a male chauvinist who is transferred into this monarchy society, facing changes and challenges from the formidable female version of himself. This is a comedy, but it is a horror film for for misogynists. This is the movie that will have male egos screaming in terror if if they ever sat down and watched this film. First, when I first saw the trailer for Ladies First, I was immediately thrust back to the Mel Gibson film from the early 2000s, What Women Want, which is kind of a similar concept. But in this particular film, it's turned up to 11, whereas in What Women Want, Mel Gibson character can hear women's thoughts. You know, we're still in the real world under a patriarchy, but you could just hear what a woman thinks about men. This movie flips the script, whereas Ladies First, it's flipped. You know, now it's a monarchy and or matriarchy, I should say. And the women are in charge, and the men are taking the role of the females that are currently dealing with this patriarchy today. This film is based on a 2018 French film entitled I Am Not an Easy Man. And this movie is directed by Thea Sharrock. And as I said, Sacha Baron Cohen, he's the lead of this film. And first and foremost, I'm not the greatest or biggest Sacha Baron Cohen fan. I think he's funny in certain movies. You know, I believe he peaked with Borat, but I never really got on board the Sacha Baron Cohen train. Not to say that he's a bad actor and not funny or anything. It just wasn't for me. You know, I never really connected with him, but I connected with him in this film. I thought he was awesome in this movie. Loved him in this movie. Rosamund Pike, she was really, really good. Really good. I mean, it's Rosamund Pike. You know, going back to Gone Girl. I mean, Rosamund Pike has been on my top 10, maybe 15. Top 15 actresses who are working today. Love Rosamund Pike. All the actors in this movie, they have a plethora of top talent that is in this movie. I will say this about the movie. The movie, when it turns the mirror on men, it really makes you, as a man, at least for me, it's sitting there watching it. It makes you feel so dumb as a human being on how we treat each other, how we treat women in this world. And I'm talking to the males here, how we treat women in this world with this patriarchy, how insulting we are to females unnecessarily. It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And it took watching this movie and seeing how the women treat the men in this movie after the little transition, and you're looking like little things. For instance, at this advertising agency, which they all work at, there's a female creative officer, right? And then when they do the flip, and it's a male creative officer, and it felt so weird to hear that. You know, male creative officer. I'm like, that sounds so ridiculous to me. And then it clicked. I was like, well, just imagine how ridiculous it sounds to a female to hear a female creative officer. Why can't they just be a creative officer? Why can't it just be the NBA instead of, in the WNBA, or a woman this or a male's this? And why we have to separate it? We have eyes, we can see. It doesn't need to be labeled male or female. It's just little things like that makes it ridiculous. And it took this movie for me to see that. Now, in the back of my mind, of course, throughout my life, throughout your life, you probably heard things like that and seen things like that, and it bothered you and it upset you, and that's completely understandable. But it just, I'm slow. I'm slow. And so it took this movie to actually put it in front of my eyes and make me realize how ridiculous that is. Now, I'm far from a male chauvinist, far from misogynistic, but I just had to see it. And this movie does a great job of flipping it and really pointing the mirror at everybody and making you see how dumb we are as a society, as human beings, and how we treat one another, especially our women. That's the main takeaway I have for this film. Now, as far as the film itself, the film is fine. I thought it was a really good movie, and it's funny. It has some real good funny moments spread out throughout the movie. My problem with the film is that we wasted a lot of good talent in this movie. Rosamund Pike, as good as she is, I felt like it should have been a little bit more. I know this is a Sacha Baron Cohen film, and obviously, since he's the star of the movie, we're going to get a lot of screen time with him. But I wanted to see a little bit more of Rosamund Pike. Charles Dance is in this movie. You have Fiona Shaw in this film. She gets, I don't know what, 2 or 3 scenes. And, she is a queen. I needed to see more of her. And especially when we get 2 different sides of that coin, I wanted to see more of the other side because it was so good. There's, like I said, a lot of talent, and I felt it was wasted. Everybody did an excellent job. Richard E. Grant is in here as well. Everybody did a excellent job. It just felt a little wasted with all of that talent, and we didn't get to see a lot more. Also, it would have been a little more interesting to see this story play out in a larger scale, not just relegated to, this agency. See the impact of the world itself. Things going on in the world, or it don't have to be the whole world. I know that's too grand, but just around the city, or see a news article or something about women being presidents and leaders and prime ministers, or whatever the case may be. Seeing how much of a global impact having women in charge would look like. I would have liked to have seen that play out a little bit more. Or at all, because they didn't really show that. But you get the gist of it just with this small little contained story. But overall, I did enjoy Ladies First. I thought hey man, this is one of those movies I could go back and watch a few times. The rewatchability on this is very high in my book. So with that being said, I give Ladies First, which is currently streaming on Netflix, a letter grade of a B-. Yeah, really good watch, man. Good sit down. I just clicked on it for giggles, and I got a lot of giggles and got a good story to boot. And so share your thoughts of Ladies First. Have you checked it out? Or are you planning on checking it out? Or maybe you didn't know about it and you plan on checking it out. Let me know. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Speaking of the KB Radio Network, subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube. Like this video, share it if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing here as well if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Ladies First, currently on Netflix. I want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.